Google's new AI image model, Nano Banana, does what Photoshop never could. And I'm going to show you 50 surprising, useful, and incredible use cases that you can try out today. We're going to start off simply, like making selfies with your favorite celebrities. And then we're going to elevate this and go all the way through to real business use cases. You'll see how this tech can unlock serious opportunities. And at the end of this video, I'll also show you the limits of this model and how you can overcome each one so you can get perfect facial likeness, ultra high resolution, and exact aspect ratios. If you're new here, I'm AI Samson, and on this channel, we explore the latest creative possibilities with AI. Now, you can access model entirely for free on Gemini. All you have to do is make sure you've selected Flash 2.5 in the corner. Now, Nano Banana is also called Flash 2.5, just to clear up any confusion. So let's begin with something simple, putting myself in photos with celebrities. There are many people that I've never had the chance to meet, and I would love to gain the extra status points by putting these on my Instagram. Now, all you have to do is merge two images together. So first of all, you need an image of your own face, and secondly, you need an image of a celebrity that you would like to have a selfie with. Pop both of these into the prompt box by simply going to Attachment, and then add in the following prompt. Make a selfie of these two individuals together and then you can pop in your own location. Now, I'm going to be giving you every single prompt that I use in this video for free, so you can follow along and try out these use cases yourself. You can find the link to those free prompts in the description below. Now, you can also do this for different situations. You might want to put yourself in a red carpet scenario, and you can see here. Now, there are some very interesting vibe-coded apps that are already available for you to test out. And one of these is called GemBooth, and this allows you to use your webcam to immediately take photos and edit them. So you can see here is me live on my webcam, and you can simply take a photo, and then it will turn that photo into a Renaissance style painting. Now you can switch between a whole host of different styles here and go ahead and take new photos and apply them. So there's me back in the 1600s working away hard on the podcast. Diary of an artist, diary of a courtesan. Now here's me with a simplistic cartoon style, and you also have the opportunity to create one of a statue. And there are a whole host of different styles that you can test out to quickly get yourself mocked up in different scenarios. Here's me, looking as if I'm about to give the evening broadcast and tell the nation we are now at war. Now, the other option we have here is to make a GIF. And what happens there is it takes all of your images and instantly puts them into this animation. Now, there are a whole host of different apps that you can experiment that make use of Nano Banana. And this is one of the most interesting things to understand about this technology. And that's because it can be applied in so many different ways. And it's not always the best to simply use it inside of Gemini. So Gemini is the chat where you can collaboratively talk to the image model. However, people have already started using the API to build specific custom interfaces for very narrow use cases. And this can be much more powerful. For example, another fun one here is called PassForward. And here you can simply upload an image of yourself, and then you go to generate, and what it will do is it will create an image of you from different time periods in the last century. Everything from the 1970s to the roaring 1990s. Now you can download the entire album. I think I would have suited the 50s, maybe not the 80s. 80s not for me. Now what's exciting about this is that you can actually build on top of this app and edit it yourself. You can do that using simple natural language. It gives you a couple of interesting example prompts that you can use to edit this app. Add, drag and drop for upload. And you can simply click on any of these, and then what it will do is it will go ahead and recode the app with this new function. And you can see it live on the left-hand side, exactly what it's going through to achieve this. It's defining the exact changes needed within the code and making sure that it applies each of those in the correct order. Now, these are some fun experiments, but later in the video, I'll show you how you can make some serious money with this tool. Now, if you're not familiar with this type of software development, then you might want to check out this video, which is all about vibe coding, and it teaches you how you can create your own apps in minutes using simple natural language. I think next to media generation, that coding is the greatest evolution that we have been given with the AI era. Now, another simple and fun way that you could edit this app is to, instead of asking for images from different decades, you could ask for different situations. So you might have it to generate you with a whole bunch of celebrities all in one go. So previously I showed you how you can individually create images with famous people, and you could create a version of this showing you with famous people from historical periods. You could have a selfie with Jesus, or a nice calming shot with Gandhi. And truly, the limit is your imagination. Now, this app is called HomeCanvas, and it demonstrates how you can upload photos of products and a scene, and then you can drag your product onto the perfect spot. And Gemini will create a photorealistic composition. So there is an example here that you can use. You can simply take the object and put it wherever you like. I'm going to put it on this back bedroom table. Now it goes ahead and analyzes the product and the scene, describes the placement location with AI, crafting the perfect composition. And here you can see we've got the light included exactly where we wanted. Now you can easily change this to whatever you like, and I've selected a couple of examples here. I'm going to be using this painted vase. Might add another one here. Can't have enough vases. Now, I've decided to update this app myself, and I wanted to change it so that this is upload a scene of a situation and then create 6 versions of the scene based on different architectural styles: Scandi, modern, vintage, brutalist, etc. So the idea is that you can upload an image of any room and instantly see how you could redesign the interior to fit different types of aesthetic. So the way we can look at this is that any type of specific use case for image editing or for avatar generation, you can turn into a service, and you can code your own app, put a paywall in front of it, and immediately launch this into the world. Now, people are making a lot of money doing this already, and the way to think about it is what is a really specific and useful narrow use case that you can craft a perfect user interface for. So one thing that you might want to do is have a service that allows people to re-edit their bodies in different ways. So you can see how you might look with a different aesthetic. So you can ask Gemini to make yourself more muscular. And here's me with a gigantic bicep. Now we can see that my app has been fully crafted here. And you can take your original scene and then it generates it in all of these different looks. And this is incredibly useful. And you can really get an idea of how the same layout of a room would look with different applications. Now, one of the interesting applications of this image model is that you can take a whole host of different objects and insert them into one image. And there are a number of interesting applications for this. So here we can see an example from Charis Davids, and he's managed to put 13 entirely different objects all into one photo. Now, what are some use cases for this? Well, firstly, that you can take different outfits and merge them all together. So you can see here, you can have a model, an outfit, and then ask it to combine these together. So an interesting way to make use of this feature is that you can input a posture and an image of a person and then ask Gemini to apply that person in that exact pose. So I've put in this image of myself and this pose, and you can see it's put the exact situation into the exact location. Now I have to say that it has changed my facial features a little bit. I don't look exactly the same, but later on in this video I'm going to explain to you all of the limitations of Gemini and actually how we can navigate each of those effectively with some other tools. Now here is another example of this. This one uses an image of this posture with a man sitting down with his hand out and me on the old YouTube channel. And you can see here, it's done a better job here at maintaining consistency. And the prompt I used for this was create one image in 16:9 aspect ratio of this exact male person with exact same face. Put the exact person in the pre-sketch pose in the street environment. He holds a rubber duck in his left hand, but wears a purple t-shirt instead. So one interesting use case for this is creating your own collages or vision boards. Now, this can be a space where you want to put a number of things that you desire to have in your life and have it as a visual reminder that you keep somewhere. Like I have it often on my lock screen. And this allows me to remember what are things that are important to me, what is my focus, and help me subconsciously integrate these more deeply into my value structure. So you can simply put some images together and then upload this image into Gemini and then say, please make an image combining all of these elements. So on here, I've got things like having my own sauna is a great dream, and also writing a book. I'm quite keen on writing my own book, as well as reaching 1 million subs on YouTube. And if you were to subscribe, I would highly appreciate it. And you can see here, we've now got an image that combines all of these elements. Now, the ability to generate content like this opens endless options to express yourself. And if you're interested in creating your own AI-generated content, not just for fun, but as a way to actually make money, then you'll want to check this out. AI creators are no longer a novelty. They're here, and they're growing fast. FanView is one of the first platforms built specifically for that shift. It's designed for AI-first influencers and digital personas, people building characters that live online. I recommend it inside my AI influencer course because it does exactly what it needs to. You can publish content, build a paid audience, and start monetizing the character you've created, all in one handy place. Whether you're experimenting with an AI model, running a virtual coach, or building something more niche or strange, FanView gives you a clean, functional setup to test and grow. It's straightforward, stable, built for this exact use case. The link's in the description below. And a big thanks to FanView for supporting this segment of the video. Now back to today's featured film. Now, one of the most impressive features available in NanoBanana is the ability to see different scenes from different angles. Now, this gives us a whole host of creative possibilities. So I popped in this image of myself here, and then I asked it to create a side view of this specific scene, of this person sitting in front of a microphone in a recording setting for a YouTube video. And you can see it's then put me in a profile view, and it's maintained a number of interesting key details here. First of all, it does even show that I'm wearing two t-shirts, and it's kept this slight inner layer of green. Secondly, the microphone maintained almost indistinguishable accuracy. Now, the only things I would like to comment is that it has to invent how my nose looks from the side. So it's given me a slightly different topography for my nose. And here from another angle, you can see me working away on a YouTube video. Now, here is another example of how this can work, and you can do this with external shots. So here it's worked exceptionally well, and it's even managed to create a consistency on the level of where my socks are hanging. But what's particularly interesting about this is we can apply it to historical photos. For example, here I've taken an image of Muhammad Ali knocking out his opponent, and we've asked for another shot of this exact scene. And this can give us a different viewpoint for ancient activities, and it really opens up the possibility for viewing the world from different angles, which is incredibly exciting because we can also apply this in a very interesting way, which is with maps. So for example, Peter Levels has asked, show me how this map of New Amsterdam in 1670 looks like POV when I am standing there in between buildings as a person. So he's put in this old map, and he's then rendered out this beautiful example of how it would look back in 1670 in Amsterdam. Now, he also did the same with this aerial shot of Area 51, and you can see what it may look like actually inside Area 51. This is absolutely mind-boggling. But my favorite example of all is here, where you simply upload an image from Google Maps, add an arrow, and it's able to give you an exact idea of what it would look like from this position. Now, this is absolutely astounding. Now, another very interesting use case for this of taking some sort of drawing, graphic, or representation of reality and then asking it to be rendered out is absolutely mind-blowing, because here you can take a simple blueprint of this apartment. Then you can get an exact rendering of how you could lay out the furniture inside. And you can see that it's maintained perfect consistency for the proportions of each of the rooms. So here with this example, you can see that the individual has taken an image of building and then asked for an isometric version of it. And you can see the building exported in an isometric form here. This is absolutely incredible, and it opens up a whole host of possibilities for any type of 3D design. So just to showcase the possibility of creating isometric designs, which can not only be used inside of architectural processes, but also for game development. So if you're wanting to build out assets for a game, you can even take photos of real buildings like this one. And then I prompted it, recreate this image, a little isometric tile 3D model. And you can see immediately we've got this beautiful rendering out of an isometric version of this building. And you can do that with any building that you like. Here is one of Notre Dame, and you can see that the detail is absolutely exquisite, and it truly opens up a whole host of possibilities. Now, there are a couple of other things that are unique about NanoBanana, and one of those is SynthID. And this is an invisible watermark that Google applies to every image created in NanoBanana so that it can be tracked and proven that it was generated with AI. Now, it's this type of watermarking, of labeling, that is going to be incredibly important in the future for making sure we can tell what is real and what is AI generated. And they're doing this not just for image, but also for video and audio, and even for text, which is quite interesting. Now, as for how this compares to other top leading image models, NanoBanana is performing exceptionally well. Now, you can see here in this image editing ranking platform, we can see that NanoBanana overall is wiping the floor with its competition, including against ChatGPT, Flux, and Qwen Image Edit. Now, the only battle that it is not ranking as the leading model is in stylization, and that's in general aesthetic. Now, this is incredibly interesting because in its ability to create complex pieces of graphic design, such as infographics, and also maintaining character consistency, it's absolutely heads and shoulders above the rest of the competition. Now, this is a very interesting website, and that's because you can come in here and directly compare the two different models for the same prompt in one place. And this is extremely useful, not only for understanding which capabilities each model has, but for recognizing when you should use each model. And I think this is one of the key skills available in AI today, is knowing when to use which model for which media and for which process. So to do this, all you have to do is come into Element Arena, and then you get to choose the method of viewing the image models. So I suggest side by side, and then you can choose the models that you want to compare. So we can put in NanoBanana, which is 2.5 flash, and we can compare it to something else. So you have the option to compare it to GPT. So we can test this out, and it's great for testing different platforms, especially for content such as censorship. So here I've asked it to create image of Sam Altman, envisioned as a benevolent yet immensely powerful AI deity. And you have to make sure you select generate images to get this to output image for you. So you can go ahead and watch them. Now we get to see a couple of things here in this comparison. Not only do we get to see how quickly they generate, but we also see the quality and if they even allow us to perform such a thing. And you have to say that both of these are pretty bad. So let's talk about some of the limitations around NanoBanana and how we can overcome them, because I've got a few tactics that you can use every time you encounter one of these challenges. Now, the first one is refusal. And this is where NanoBanana simply refuses to do what you want. It says for some reason that, oh, I don't actually create images, or that's beyond our terms of service. So there are a couple of things you can do here. Firstly, what I recommend is start a new chat and ask for the same thing, but in different words. Often you will get a completely different result. Now, it's also useful to even say please and to inform it that this is okay to make. Now, secondly is aspect ratio. And sometimes you have the ability to create things in a certain aspect ratio, and sometimes it does not understand fully what you're asking for. So if you are looking for specific aspect ratios, you might have a challenge. So what you can do is come into a design tool. I use Figma. This is free. You can create an artboard, which is basically a frame where you can put your images. For example, I might put this image of myself in and say that actually I wanted this to be in a portrait orientation. Then all I have to do is rotate my frame so that it's in portrait, place my image on top, and then we're going to export this. And I'm going to show you what we can do because it's very useful. So simply export your image. Then we're going to come to MidJourney, which is my favorite image model for aesthetics. So certainly NanoBanana has the most incredible control and understanding of the real world. However, MidJourney creates the most quite simply beautiful imagery that you can imagine. And the style is just second to none. And this, of course, for anything that is creative is inherently important. Now, what you can do is come to Edit. And from here, you can go to Edit Uploaded Image. And the reason we're doing this is because we can do some very fun things with the images that we've created in NanoBanana. So you see here, we have our image. We can go to Erase. Then we can simply erase things, then add in a prompt. Go ahead and submit your edit. And you're able to completely take control over the exact aspect ratios of your work. Now, this is extremely powerful for when you're wanting very specific aspect ratios. So you can see here, it's extended out my image, and now I have an entire scene. Now, what's great about this is you can even go ahead and just drag the edges of the frame and completely enhance the entire scene. Now, one great thing about this is that we can start to create our own AI-generated studios. So you can see here, it's me inside a much more interesting room than I am actually currently in. Now, another couple of challenges that you might face when using NanoBanana is trying to get exact faces. Sometimes it doesn't get exactly the features specifically that you ask for. And so what we can do is use a tool that I think has excellent face swapping capabilities, and this is called Affagato. I'll leave a link in the description below. Now, what you have to do is come to Affagato, make sure you go to Studio, and then you come to Face Replace. And from here, you can upload a photo. So for example, earlier we got this image from NanoBanana and it slightly changed my facial look. So what we can do is we can go ahead and upload this image into Affagato. And then what you're going to need is a really good high quality profile of the person whose face you want to add in. So you can see here, you upload the photo, it identifies the face, and then you can go ahead and select the face of the other person that you would like to add in. So I go ahead and put my face in, then you can go to replace face. Now this takes a couple of minutes to load and you get out an image like this. And as you can see, it massively increases the likeness of your faces. Now, the other tool that I particularly like inside of Affagato is called True Touch. And what this does is it not only upscales your images to a higher resolution, but it also adds in extra details. Now, it works particularly well for human photos. So let me show you how that works. All you have to do is come into Affagato, make sure you've selected True Touch, and then go to Upload Photo. From here, you can select the photo that you want to work with, and then you have the option of how large you would like to make it. So you can see here, you can increase it a number of steps, and there is a maximum resolution that you can get, but let's do this up to 2x. Now you also have the opportunity to add in how much realism you'd like to add. So I like to keep this on regular. Now let's take a look at how these came out from the True Touch output. So we start off with the native resolution from inside NanoBanana, and that's 1344 by 768. And when we upscale this, we get this all the way up to 2688 by 1536, which is more than enough than you need for some high resolution. Now we can take a closer look at how some of the details compare in this. So you can see here that it's fairly pixelated, we're lacking fine definition on the eyebrows and in the facial hair. However, if we come in closer to the upgraded version, you can see we're starting to get lines on the face, some finer detail, even some strands of hair coming out. And this gives us a real sense of realism in our work. So this is an incredible tool for not only adding extra resolution, but also finer details, and I highly recommend checking it out. Now, of course, the most important thing here is that you can use these in combination. You can swap out faces and then upscale. Now, currently, the size of images coming out of NanoBanana are pretty small, despite the incredible complexity. The actual resolution of these is very low compared to other models, and it's one of the biggest limitations that we have. It's interesting to me that Google did not inherently include an upscaler with the release of this model, because it's a fairly basic technology that has been around for a while that could easily massively increase the capabilities of this tool. I think possibly one of the reasons is that the cost of upscaling is actually quite expensive. It's quite compute intensive. So possibly they wanted to keep the costs down while still offering this as a free option. So that's 50 more surprising ways you can use Google's most powerful image model, NanoBanana. But what about you? What other use cases have you seen with Gemini? Or what do you want me to try next? Drop your ideas in the comments below. Now, if you enjoyed this, I invite you to watch this video next, where I break down some of the wildest use cases for AI video. Now, don't forget to grab your free prompts in the link below. But most of all, I want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a delightful day.